Imagine thinking you're paying $18,000 a month for your apartment, only to discover it's actually $25,000, a shock that would rattle anyone, let alone Wendy Williams, the once dominant talk show queen, whose life has now taken a dramatic and confusing turn. For decades, Wendy lived in the spotlight, commanding attention, making headlines, and running a media empire. But today, she finds herself trapped in a very different kind of stage, a high-end assisted living facility known as the coterie. She calls it a luxury dump, a term that perfectly captures her frustration and disbelief. According to insiders, Wendy had no idea about the true cost of her living situation. She trusted her court-appointed guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, to manage her affairs, only to learn through news coverage that the reality was far more expensive than she believed. Can you imagine realizing something so fundamental about your life, not from the people supposed to protect you, but from an article? The reports claim she was blindsided, feeling both furious and powerless. For Wendy, the rent isn't just money. It's a symbol of control slipping away, a stark reminder that she's no longer fully in charge of her life. Sources also reveal that Wendy's understanding of her finances has been extremely limited for years. She reportedly receives only $200–300 per week as her personal allowance, which she uses for small comforts like Twizzlers and magazines, completely unaware of how much money is being spent on her behalf, or possibly drained by those she trusted. Rumors suggest that every extra dollar beyond what she expected feels like another betrayal, fueling her anxiety and frustration. And yet, Wendy's story isn't just about money. It's about autonomy, trust, and the shocking reality of what it means to be placed under guardianship. This revelation raises questions that go far beyond her personal experience. How much control are we really giving away when someone else manages our lives? Who really benefits when our finances are handled by another? For Wendy, the answer is terrifyingly unclear, and what she discovers next is bound to shock everyone who thought they understood her situation. The deeper you dig into Wendy's life at the coterie, the more unsettling it becomes. Reports claim she isn't just unaware of the real rent. She also doesn't know how much she's spending on travel or everyday expenses. Every Uber, taxi ride, or outing for dinner adds another layer of confusion. For someone who once ran her own empire and commanded a national audience, being limited to a tiny weekly allowance of $200–300 feels like a jarring step into a world where control has been stripped away. Sources suggest that Wendy's guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, oversees every detail, from rent to legal fees, and Wendy's own earnings are restricted. She is reportedly not allowed to earn income, and every financial decision is scrutinized or withheld. Imagine living with decades of fame, influence, and independence, only to be told your finances are no longer yours. For fans, it's shocking. For Wendy, it's infuriating. Rumors claim she feels drained, a term that doesn't just apply to money. It's a reflection of how powerless she feels in a life once defined by autonomy and bold decisions. Even the legal battles surrounding her have become a tangled web. From lawsuits involving her ex-husband to disputes over documentaries about her life, each case adds layers of complexity. Wendy reportedly worries about who is truly looking out for her, or if everyone around her is simply benefiting from her situation. And as the public watches, the drama unfolds like a story of high-stakes intrigue, betrayal, and an ongoing fight for freedom. The question that lingers in the air is impossible to ignore. How did Wendy Williams, once the queen of talk shows, find herself in a place where she can't even be certain how much she's paying for her own apartment? And as the next chapter of her life approaches, what shocking revelations will come next about the inner workings of her guardianship and finances? As Wendy tries to navigate life under guardianship, every small decision seems magnified. Even something as simple as leaving the facility for dinner or running errands becomes a carefully monitored event. Reports suggest she isn't always aware of the costs involved, and the restrictions make her feel confined, trapped in a life that once thrived on spontaneity and control. The contrast between her past independence and her current limitations is jarring, and it's easy to see why fans and insiders alike feel empathy and frustration on her behalf. Rumors circulating online suggest that Wendy's frustration isn't just about money, it's about dignity. The once bold, outspoken media personality, known for calling out celebrities and making headlines, now finds herself in a system where her voice is partially silenced, and her choices are limited. Sources claim she often expresses disbelief over the luxury living situation she's supposedly paying for, calling it a luxury dump, a phrase that captures both her sarcasm and her growing dissatisfaction. Meanwhile, every news story about Wendy seems to trigger a wave of speculation. How much control does her guardian really have, and is she being taken advantage of? Fans on social media debate fiercely, sharing theories about financial mismanagement and the ethics of guardianship, while Wendy remains at the center of a storm that she didn't ask for. The tension builds as everyone wonders, will she reclaim control, or is she destined to remain a spectator in her own life? And just when it seems like the story couldn't get any more intense, insiders hint at upcoming legal battles and potential revelations that could completely change the public's perception of her situation. The suspense is palpable, because with Wendy Williams, nothing is ever simple, and the next twist could be around the corner. The legal drama surrounding Wendy isn't just a headline, it's a tangled web that affects every part of her life. Her guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, has been accused of controlling not only Wendy's finances, but also her daily routines, travel plans, and even small personal indulgences. Insider reports claim Wendy is given a weekly allowance of just $200–300, money she uses for small treats like Twizzlers and magazines. For someone who once commanded stages and television screens, this level of restriction is almost unimaginable. Adding fuel to the fire, lawsuits and attorney fees continue to pile up. One case involves a controversial documentary, Where is Wendy Williams?, which her guardian reportedly filed against A&E and Lifetime. Wendy's legal team claims she had no say in the project, and the public watches closely, questioning the fairness of the system. Her ex-husband, Kevin Hunter, also attempted to intervene with a $250 million lawsuit, which was dismissed, but the possibility of it being refiled keeps the drama alive. The tension between financial control, public scrutiny, and Wendy's personal freedom paints a complex picture. Fans are left asking, is Wendy's guardian truly acting in her best interest, or is she being exploited? Every detail, from high rent at the assisted living facility to obscure fees for transportation, adds another layer to a story that seems both shocking and deeply human. And just when you think you've grasped the situation, insiders hint at more surprises ahead, potential revelations in court, possible challenges to the guardianship, and Wendy's own efforts to regain independence. The stakes keep rising, and viewers are left wondering, who will come out on top in this high-profile battle for autonomy, dignity, and financial control? While the financial and legal battles rage on, Wendy's emotional world is equally intense. Reports suggest she feels trapped and powerless, discovering shocking details about her own life through news articles rather than being informed directly. Imagine learning that your monthly rent is $25,000. Not $18,000 as you believed, while being restricted in how you spend even a small allowance. It's no wonder Wendy is anxious and frustrated. Her once vibrant public persona now contrasts sharply with the quiet, controlled environment she must navigate daily. Fans and observers have taken to social media, debating whether Wendy is being unfairly controlled or if her guardian's strict management is necessary given her medical diagnoses, including frontotemporal dementia and aphasia. The divide is intense. Some sympathize, calling out potential exploitation and expressing outrage over the exorbitant fees, while others argue that guardianship is essential for her safety and well-being. This clash of opinions only adds to the intrigue, as viewers wonder which side truly has her best interests at heart. Even small moments become points of tension. Simple pleasures like leaving the facility for a dinner or ride in an Uber are tightly monitored, and every action is weighed against her financial and medical oversight. What used to be a life filled with spontaneity and fame is now a delicate balance of trust, control, and limited freedom. And yet, Wendy continues to inspire curiosity and loyalty from her audience. People can't help but follow the story, eager to see if she can reclaim autonomy over her life, challenge the legal system, and perhaps find ways to assert herself within the constraints imposed by her guardianship. Each revelation adds suspense, leaving viewers glued to the next chapter in what has become one of the most talked-about celebrity guardianship sagas in recent memory. Despite the restrictions, Wendy's daily life is filled with small dramas and quiet rebellions. Even a simple outing can turn into a tense affair, with her movements monitored and expenses scrutinized. Sources claim she often sneaks little indulgences with her limited $200, $300 weekly allowance, treating herself to Twizzlers, magazines, or small comforts that remind her of freedom. These tiny acts, seemingly insignificant, become moments of defiance in a life where nearly every decision is overseen by her guardian. Rumors continue to swirl online, with fans speculating about hidden tensions, financial exploitation, and the true extent of her independence. Some say she's being drained financially, while others argue that the high rent and tight control are necessary for her safety given her medical condition. This ongoing debate has created a public fascination, making Wendy's story not just a personal struggle, but a cultural conversation about celebrity, autonomy, and the ethics of guardianship. Amid all this, Wendy herself has found ways to assert her voice. Whether through interviews, public statements, or legal filings, she is fighting to regain control of her finances and her daily life. Every legal battle, every news story, and every viral social media post adds layers to the drama, keeping audiences glued to updates and fueling speculation about what might happen next. And while the outcome remains uncertain, one thing is clear. Wendy Williams' story isn't just about money or guardianship. It's about a fight for dignity, independence, and identity in the public eye. The world is watching, and every new twist makes it impossible to look away. As Wendy's legal battles drag on, the question that lingers is simple but powerful. Who truly holds the power in her life? Fans are divided. Some believe she's being taken advantage of, while others point to her medical condition as justification for the strict oversight. Yet through it all, Wendy continues to push back, determined to reclaim her autonomy, her finances, and her voice. Her story has become more than just celebrity gossip. It's a lens into the complexities of guardianship, wealth, and personal freedom. Each headline, each court ruling, and each social media debate adds a new layer to a narrative that feels both shocking and heartbreaking. And just when people think they know the full story, another twist emerges. A new lawsuit, a viral interview, or a surprising revelation that keeps everyone watching, speculating, and coming back for more. Wendy Williams' fight isn't over, and it likely never will be. What happens next could change everything, not just for her, but for how the world views guardianship, celebrity, and control. For now, we can only watch, wait, and wonder. Will Wendy finally break free, or will the system continue to dictate her life? One thing is certain, the next chapter will be impossible to ignore.